Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from John May, and here's what he has to say. Hi Sandman, can you talk about a few things? Is MGTOW anti-religious people? All the guys interested in it are believers like myself, but I keep seeing MGTOW guys dissing religion. I guess I've been exposed to MGTOW for a few weeks, but I was already living like that, and I was raised to go my own way by my father. Why is it that women seem to like me much more? It feels really spooky. I've had a lot of weird things happen since I first got exposed to MGTOW, like women stopping what they're doing and they start talking to me. By the way, I see how gynocentric society is. I was trying to park and these two bitches practically ran across the street to not move their car. One of them proceeded to load her car as I was trying to park. I just drove away and ordinarily I would have just cussed her out or something else. Anyways, I'm just rambling, thanks. Well, John May, your questions and comments are either an epic troll, and if they are, congratulations to you. But if they aren't, then what can I say, John May, except thanks for your topic and donation today. I find it hard to believe that all the guys interested in MGTOW are believers, unless of course they worship a woman's slimy mystery meat and attempt to build their own altar made of pubic hair surrounding her cooch. The reason a lot of guys going their own way have a problem with religion in general is because religions, for the most part, are gynocentric. It's all about going forth and multiplying, and in Islam you're ordered by the religion to not only take a wife, but in some cases take two or more, when you can afford to. The idea in Christianity is that it's better to stay single if you can, and it's kind of misleading. How many guys out there do you know that can resist a woman when they're in their teens and 20s, which was usually the average marrying age in such texts when they were written? Why do you think that so many priests diddle with little boys? And just for the record, I'm not interested in trannies because that's mystery meat I definitely won't be tasting. John, I think you need to understand that the majority of men going their own way out there, for the most people's experience, are already atheists. I dare you to do a survey to ask people in the comment section and see what they say. If anyone wants to share their religious status in the comment section, then by all means do so. Usually a man that's typically about women and female nature gets skeptical and has an existential crisis in another department before getting red pill rage because no one told him the secret behind the meat curtains. And I'm not talking about baloney. More like some of the roast beef that you'd be able to find in a New York City deli. But seriously, most guys have either learned how the corporate world, government, educational system, financial system, and religion try to socialize them against their will. So if a man has learned about any of those things first, then he's more likely to have already gotten a religious existential crisis. As for Christians that learn about MGTOW and can't control their sexual attraction for women, they're now facing a situation that is paradoxical. If they do what Christianity asks them to do and get married, then they aren't going to go their own way anymore. They aren't pursuing their own best interests as a man because they've already chosen to become a sacrificial lamb for the gynocrats out there. Those are two opposing ideas or ideologies, and they can't coexist unless your logic is severely flawed. The best option for a religious man that learns about MGTOW is probably to become a men's rights activist. I remember at the men's rights conference in Detroit, I met a young Canadian man that was also a Muslim. He was very receptive about what I was saying with regards to the dark side of female nature, but his religion and culture also commands him to get married. He was also looking for a way to figure out female nature and marry someone, while also eliminating as many of the risks as possible to himself. So he was seeking out answers, but his answers were limited to the cultural and religious background that he already has. A Christian man going his own way can't pump and dump because it violates his religion. He can't have sex outside of marriage, and today if you don't put out by the third or fourth date, the woman will usually think there's something wrong with you. Guys also tend to have a much stricter morality code than women. The majority of women these days have no moral compass whatsoever. And if there were so-called nice Christian women out there, then there probably wouldn't be enough of them out there for all the nice so-called Christian guys. So all the good Christian men out there can't control their urges, and at the same time are commanded to marry nice Christian women. But there simply aren't enough of them to go around. Either God miscalculated or you're screwed. When I first started questioning religion, it was small things like a man should cut his hair short, yet Jesus has long hair. I thought to myself, you've got to really be stupid if you can't see the hypocrisy and contradictions in your faith. My analytical mind easily found a few cracks and went to work, breaking down the rest of the dogma. However, with MGTOW, I can't find any arguments against it, especially if we have sex robots, and then artificial wombs, and then at some point we have relationships with artificial intelligence. You can't exactly commit a sin if you aren't committing it against another person now, can you? As for the story with regards to walking towards your car and when you saw two women approaching that tried to load up their vehicle before you arrived, they were most likely either trying to get your attention or they might have actually been in a hurry or possibly creeped out by you at the same time. Don't take this personally, but women are like deer, and then when they smell a fart in the wind, they run in the opposite direction. If they were intentionally trying to get out of there first, all's fair in love and war. It's like looking for a parking spot during Christmas shopping season. If two people see the same spot at the same moment in time, they will most likely chase that parking spot simultaneously, and the first person wins. That's just the way that it works. The timing was funny and they were trying to get out of there just before you were trying to get in. But in their case, it meant that they were actually going to inconvenience you because they had to load up their vehicle. That's incredibly inconsiderate, and if they had done that to me, I would have just stood there next to them with regards to double parking and blocking the road, asked them questions about what they'd bought, and told them about the snake that I keep in the trunk of my car, and asked them if they'd like to see it. I bet you anything they'd be out of there in 5 seconds, and they would think twice before being inconsiderate to you ever again. Women crave comfort and safety. If you make them uncomfortable, they get skittish and run away hard and fast. That's a talent I picked up unintentionally, and it works great when I actually want to get out of a conversation. I'll get awkward and the person I'm talking to will look at their non-existent watch and say, "Look at the time. Looks like it's time to go home." But you're right, John, women tend to be a lot meaner when it comes to parking, especially when it comes to giving up a parking spot to a man. They see us as inferiors, so when we men win, it really pisses them off. They also work really hard making us feel like we won the game of love, even when we actually lost. When a man is fighting for any significant thing against a woman, the woman will make him work really hard for his victory if the victory is meaningless. If the battle and then subsequent victory of the man over the woman results in real power, then there won't even be a battle in the first place. Women will generally shut the man down before he even has a chance to take power using shame or just becoming really mean and nasty all of a sudden. They know they can't win fair and square, so they'll use shaming language. They lack the rational and physical faculties to win the argument and take direct power, so they use emotional manipulation to take control of the situation instead. That's why the critical theory from cultural Marxism works so well with women and feminists. Women already use critical theory to attack and silence anyone they don't like, so that particular ideology works perfectly with their demeanor. In your case, John, it's just that women are often late for most things in life, including their periods. So it makes sense that they're just going to be taking their sweet-ass time being fashionably late while keeping you away from your parking spot. Funny how such a small thing like that can replicate in women's behavior and many other things. One of these days I'm going to have to make a video covering the nature of fashionably late women, because they do it intentionally to get the attention from men and to keep us waiting, but if we ever keep them waiting, then there's usually hell to pay. But for the rest of this video, I want to get back to religion and believers going their own way. Whatever religion a man might believe in, it usually sets the behavioral expectations for a man, and those are usually all about getting married and having a family and being traditional. Traditionalism works well with the MRA, but it doesn't work all that well with MGTOW because it's just the other side of the gynocentric coin. How can you call yourself a man going his own way when you either believe in being a traditional provider-protector or you believe in the equality of women? Women have done a masterful job framing this argument as an either-or. Either you're going to take care of women like men did in the past, or you're going to take care of women through feminism by having your income taxed and handed to women by force. Many people in the United States believe that the Revolutionary War happened because people were paying 2% to 4% tax on tea, but there was more to it than that. The colonies weren't allowed to produce many of the products they could grow because the monarchy wanted to keep the monopoly on basic necessities. Also, Americans had the colonial scrip or their own money, so there was never actually a shortage of currency, unlike in England where there was actually central banks. The English didn't like that their colonies were more prosperous than they were, so they outlawed the colonial money, and as a result, a year later, the streets of the colonies were filled with beggars, and the people in the colonies could only use gold and silver provided to them by the British. Remember that America was founded on a currency with no backing, just like women are founded on a vagina that has no intrinsic value except producing very expensive dependents in today's modern day and age. That vagina might as well be passed down from the King of England, and in the past, men were forced to accept that. Men going their own way are like the American revolutionaries saying, "No, we don't want your golden vagina. We would rather have our own counterfeit women of pornography, and the best part is, they aren't backed by nagging and a desire to raid our wallets." The American Revolution happened because one set of men took another set of men's money away. The MGTOW revolution is happening because one set of men, politicians and lawyers, took away the money from another set of men, married men. Religion has up until recently been used as a tool for men to overlook the power that men have lost and instead focus on love and other such nonsense. Women are like the Federal Reserve Bank, and religion is like the IRS going around making sure that everyone pays their fair share of tax to all the mighty golden vaginas out there. I hope you can see, John, that religion is aiding in the greatest swindle of men in history. It's telling men to be traditional, and it's throwing many men under the bus for a smaller and smaller piece of a collection plate, money plate for the priests. That's a sad outcome because for the longest time, it's kept civilization stable and families together. Because it wasn't the state that forbid you from getting divorced, but it was actually the church. When the church and state separated, it was good at first because religion or faith didn't control a man's destiny. But once women got the vote, now they controlled men's destiny instead. The only way to possibly fix that is to make the church and state one once again like they do in Islam. And then we might actually have some old version of normality. But I don't think that any of that can happen, and believers will go down in numbers, and with that the last remnants of traditionalism will be destroyed. Women will then only have feminism, and men will walk away from the social contract and go their own way. Being a believer doesn't work if you want a wife and it's mandated that you take one, but at the same time women are too busy being feminists. It's just not going to work out. Just as an aside, which is completely out of the blue, if I ever reach 1 million subscribers on this channel, I will hire a woman, baste her in her bikini, stuff an apple in her mouth, and put her over an imaginary fire pit. How's that for mystery meat? Anyways, that's all I've got to say for today. Thanks again, John May, you really made my day. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills. And remember, a red pill a day keeps the church ladies and their wizard sleeve vaginas away. So enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.